Let's assemble and put to good use this Creality CFS Workstand. Let's go. Welcome everyone to the Zillotronics channel. Today I'm finally replacing my falling apart 3D printed and assembled CFS Workstand with this CFS Workstand from Creality, which came in this pretty large box. It's quite heavy. So let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. We'll get it assembled and we'll move my CFS units onto this new workstand. Hopefully it's a significant improvement over the one that I have back here, which has been slowly falling apart over the last few months. Let's go ahead and get this unboxed. Everything that came within the box, we have four, looks like metal rods, bag of hardware here, instruction manual, two base plates, two side plates. Each side plate has two slides on it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we need to do in the manual here to get this thing assembled. But it looks overall pretty straightforward and much less work than the 3D printing one I did, which took a few hours to put together and a couple days worth of printing. Instruction manual is super straightforward and assembly is only 2 steps. So we have the English side over here and the Chinese instructions on the right. And like I mentioned, we have 4 support rods, a left bracket assembly, right bracket assembly. Make sure you do have those on the correct orientation or might not install correctly. M6 hex socket button head screws, you got 8 of those. And you got 2 sliding platform assemblies and of course the instruction manual. So we're going to go ahead and get the proper tool for this, and then we're going to go ahead and put this together. Here we have the side plates right here, and then what you're going to do is each metal rod will go from one hole on each side, here, and here. And then you want, if you look at it right here, these little feet right here, they have little rubber bottoms. The feet are going to be angled inward like this, and you want your logo looking like this. So this is the left side, this one is the right side. And what we can do is get one of the little bars here, slide this one out of the way, and we'll go ahead and put the screw through. And then we'll just spin on the metal rod, like so. And we'll go ahead and continue that through all 4 rods, and we'll put these 2 sets of side brackets together, and then we'll move on to the base plates. Hopefully you can see this, but you have these plastic latch tabs or whatever these are. These will be going into the your actual frame here, and then it'll slide in like so. Make sure you have the solid top here on the top, not the cutout, the hollow piece down here. So that's going to be on the bottom, and we'll just try to latch this in and see if it slides in. CFS Workstand is fully assembled. Here it is on the desk. Took just a few minutes, super simple, way easier than my 3D printed one. As mentioned, that one took a couple hours and a lot of guesswork because the instructions weren't super clear on that one. I'm sure there's different ones that maybe are easier or harder, but for this one, for the price, which is relatively inexpensive, I'll link in the description for this one specifically and what the price is currently. I really didn't pay much more for a fully metal stand with logo work and instructions and some nice slides than I paid for buying slides, buying the hardware, 3D printing, buying the 2020, I think it was 2020 or whatever aluminum stock bar, cutting it. This one straight out of the box, a couple minutes, fully assembled. And it does have almost like slide like bumps. So the initial, it's super solid initially, but then when you pull it, after it breaks through that initial thing, then it slides super smooth. So I guess it prevents just gravity or the weight of the CFS units from causing this thing to just, you know, float outwards without having that kind of latch lock. See, it goes in here, it's nice and solid. Same thing on the bottom. Now I did read some reviews where they mentioned if this is opened up all the way, the lid still can't clear this, which I don't think it does really for any of them unless they're open top or single unit, because even my 3D printed one has the same issue where I'll show you guys here shortly, but the bottom, when you pull it up, the lid won't fully open and stay open because it impacts the shelf above it. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way and I'll show you what I'm talking about. My 3D printed CFS stand right here. And as you can see, the whole back brace broke off a couple months ago. They started leaning. I'm not sure what's going on. This is starting to sag, but and it kind of hangs even opening these up, but we'll pull it out here. And you can see here, slide all the way out. Same issue. Lid doesn't fully open because it still impacts the one above it. They would have to come out super far, and then I'm not sure, especially the upper one, stability, but we'll go ahead and pull that one out. This one is really jammed up. Here we go. This one actually does stay open because it's on the top and it does clear that rear panel. Notice my 4 different filaments in here, and I did some upgrades to this CFS unit to make it feed much better than just a stock setup. This one flawless feeds my filament. Maybe I'll do a video on all the different upgrades I've assembled on this one. It's quite a lot, but this one just runs perfect. The bottom one, it is not, I usually, my important filaments go in the top one because the bottom one is not nearly as reliable because I haven't upgraded it. But as you can see here, it's still stable enough even with the broken bar to actually hold it without falling over. But yeah, not too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and get these CFS units off of this stand. We'll move in the new one, load them up, and we'll see how it performs. Does it slide freely? Does it hold the weight? Does it feel lopsided? But just feeling that stand, the Creality Workstand, it is rock solid. I don't think, you're gonna have to stand on it to get that thing to tip over. Old Workstand is out of the way. I have the new Creality one here. Takes up actually less overall space than my old 3D printed one. And it definitely feels rock solid, but you cannot have the CFS unit fully loaded on the top and with nothing on the bottom because the weight alone, just from physics or whatever, will pull it down. So if I'm showing you, gets past that thing, it slides super smooth. But of course, fully weighted, it's gonna tip. That's just, you know, that's just a reality of things. You're gonna make sure you put your one CFS unit on the bottom. That'll give you the extra support weight to maintain stability with an upper unit like this one right here. And I do need to figure out a new way to connect my buffer unit here. This one was mounted directly to my old workstand. This one doesn't have a provision for mounting this, at least out of the box. So I'm gonna have to mount it to back of the 3D printer probably, and then maybe adjust my hoses for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and position that. I do like having the solid plate here with the logos, which look pretty nice, but the 3D printed one had these little tiny feet, and the feet on this just had an issue sitting in there sometimes. This, you know, you can set this however you want, really. Slide it a little bit further back, slide a little bit more forward, whatever works for you, and it'll hold it regardless. And it can actually hold a wider variety of different things. Not necessarily a CFS unit. You can have maybe a small heater or something like that on one of these, a CFS unit somewhere else, you know, upper, lower, as long as you have enough weight on the bottom to support whatever's on the top. So that's kind of cool. I like the more flexibility with this. And as mentioned, this is some solid metal. I mean, this stuff is heavy duty. It's not going to move. It's not going to fall over, and it's not going to fall apart. So I'm definitely super happy so far. We'll see once I get everything wired up how it actually functions when I have both the CFS units on this workstand. I don't yet have the filament hoses or the electrical connectors wired up yet. I want to do a few quick stability checks, see how it performs, see how the CFS units can interact with this workstand with both units in place. So we'll go ahead and do a couple quick tests. Here's the top shelf fully extended, and it's not tipping over. We'll even open up the lid here. Even leaning into it, it's not tipping over. I have to put a decent amount of weight and pressure into it to actually start having it lean forward. So don't sit on it and contemplate life and whatnot. It could tip over, but if you're just using it normally, everything opened up. It looks like it's holding quite stable. Close this up. Push it back, super smooth on these runners. Pull out the bottom one here. Also not tipping over, of course. And as you can see, lid can't quite clear this front lip. I think actually if they didn't have this lip right here, and maybe it was bent upwards, kind of an angle, or actually sitting like this, or wasn't even here at all, it might be able to fully open and clear it. But what I'll do is I'll 3D print a little stopper, a little wedge I can just sit right here. I still have decent amount of range here to put in new filament spools, but you have to hold the lid up. So just like my 3D printed stand, actually I have more room because that one I was kind of like this, and it was kind of rickety. This one is pretty solid. I'll print a little, wedge block here. I can just sit in here, so I don't have to use one hand to hold this up. I can use both hands to work on the reels, and then. Yeah, so, I mean, if that's the complaint I saw people talking about, I don't know any stand that works like this can actually fully open. But if they just redesign this out of the way, I think it might actually have room. Or maybe actually gave us another inch of height on the top shelf and had this removed. I'm pretty sure this could open up completely freely without having to use a little jam or whatever. But overall, super smooth slides. Of course, you're not going to want to fully extend both shelves because, yeah, once you unlatch it, it's going to start rocking forward. That's just how things are. Unless this thing was super deep, like twice the depth on size, you're not going to be able to do that with anything really, unless it's bolted to your work surface. Which the way these feet are, you could drive some screws through here and bolt these feet directly onto your work surface. You have a wooden top workbench like I do. I'm not going to do that because I like to move things around, rearrange things, but that is an option. You would actually bolt these in before you put in the sliding shelves, and you could actually have both of these extended, do all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm not going to do that, but that is an option, and they are holes in place for you to do that if you wanted to. That's probably not an official thing. That's actually to hold the rubber feet, but it does give you the opportunity to do that if you so desire. I'm going to go ahead and replumb this up, hook up the connectors, turn the printer on, and we'll see how it looks. But overall, super pleased so far with how this thing looks, how it performs. It blends in with all my other stuff, and it just feels a lot more stable and secure than my previous stand. Filament hoses are plumbed up, electrical is hooked up, and everything came on as it should. This is CFS Unit 1, this is Unit 2, and you can see your manual from Creality to see how you need to plumb up multi-units and whatnot. I did cut some new tubing to fit the slightly different dimensions and with the new buffer tube location, but overall, looks great. So happy with the setup. It actually has less of a footprint than my old one. It's way more stable and it looks better. I mean, the other one was kind of hacked together, so this one looks like a legit piece of hardware, and it's probably only a few bucks more than what I paid to assemble and 3D print the previous one. One thing to note, make sure this bottom rack is fully latched in. Don't have it sitting like, right before it actually fully locks in. If it's sitting kind of like right here and you're like, oh, I'm good, and you go to remove this one, well, it will, if you pull it fully extended, it could lose balance and fall forward. So make sure this is fully seated before you extend your upper tray. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video and we'll close this one out. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys found it somewhat informative and helped your decision making on if you're going to pick up this Creality Workstand for your CFS units. For me, it works perfect. If I ever add 2 more CFS units, I can actually move my Elegoo resin printer out of the way and fit a second unit right here, and I can run 4 CFS units. And the footprint on this is surprisingly quite small compared to my 3D printed one. Stability is improved, rock solid. Just be careful, don't try to pull out both shelves at the same time, or you're going to have an issue where you're probably potentially going to lose your CFS units onto the floor, which is never good. Yeah, overall super happy with it. The price is very reasonable. It's solid steel or aluminum or something like that, but it's heavy. It's a heavy unit. So if you don't have something that's a solid table to be setting this on, it could be too heavy. I mean, if you're putting it on a cardboard box, you might crush it. Of course, it's lighter than your 3D printer, so if you have your on the same workbench as your 3D printer, it should be fine. So overall, super happy with it. Definitely glad I finally unboxed this thing and got it put together. It's been sitting in a box for a couple months now. The other one's been kind of working and struggling along. It hadn't collapsed on me, so that's why I haven't done it. But I figured it's 4th of July today. I have a day off, so hey, why not go ahead and knock it out. But yeah, definitely highly recommended if you're looking for something similar. Can't really go wrong with it. I mean, it's a little bit high versus just setting it on some milk jug crates or something like that, but it looks a lot nicer. So, you know, looks is everything. So anyways, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Check out my website, zilla.com, Z1LLA.com. Yeah, check out the next video. Jump between 3D printing, some tech stuff, collectibles, everything from books, manga, comics, a little bit of everything. So if you're in for a wild ride on a little bit of everything, hope to see you guys in the next videos. Anyways, have a good one. See ya.